Reading with your kids.
Hola, ni hao, konnichiwa, assalamu alaikum, shalom, mahaba, moni moli wanji, namaste, jumbo, bienvenidos. Hi, my name is Jedlie, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We are coming to you from the Boston Book Festival happening in beautiful Copley Square in the heart of the city of Boston. We are so honored and so wicked happy that you'll join us in our mission to help all families grow closer through reading. Please be sure to subscribe to the show on the iHeartRadio app, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, wherever you find your podcasts. Today, Jordau Sahley and I will be speaking with a number of authors and publishers we met at this fantastic event. Jordau, take it away.
This is Jordan joining you from the Boston Book Festival. I'm with Tumble Home Books right now. I'm talking to Penny Noyce. Penny, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great. Beautiful sunny day.
Yeah, do you want to tell us a little bit about your work, any of your books, like the Book of Wrong Answers?
Sure. I write and publish books about science for children, and the Book of Wrong Answers is my first picture book. It comes from the idea of children's questions about the world and how other children might answer them. So in this book, the little girl Gigi asks her big brother Diego all sorts of questions about where do rainbows come from and how do the people get so little when they go up in the sky in an airplane. Mm-hmm. And Diego gives very imaginative answers through the day. And at the end, there's a little section on what grown-ups say about the answers to these questions. But this is a fun book for parents and kids to read together, because then after that, when the children ask questions, the parent can say to them, well, do you want the imaginary answer or the real answer? And kids really like that.
That's adorable. I remember when I was little, I would get in arguments with my friends. I'd be like, the sun follows me home every day after school. They'd be like, no, the sun follows me home. Exactly. I think it's so fun to give like kids creative answers to that. What inspired you to write this?
I was driving on the turnpike one day and I looked up and saw an airplane, and all of a sudden I remembered that question from when I was a child. Mm-hmm. How do the people get so small when they go up in the airplane that they'll fit? Yeah. And I thought it would be fun to write a book. And the name came to me. I thought the Book of Wrong Answers was just irresistible to me to write.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's a really cute name. I love the name Book of Wrong Answers. But honestly, none of the answers are really wrong. They're just more entertaining for children.
Right. Yes, I had an educator who said to me, you know, you shouldn't really say these are wrong answers because all of the answers have a germ of truth in them and they're sort of at a developmental level. So I said, well, I could call it the Book of Answers that have a germ of truth in them and at a certain developmental level, but it didn't have the same zing.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Anyway, I also write a lot of books for older kids, like this book, Inventors, Makers, Barrier Breakers, which is a history of diverse inventors since the early days of the Republic. And this book, Magnificent Minds, which is this is a high school level book, 16 famous or not famous, but should be famous women of science. And with all of these books have beautiful illustrations. This one, Magnificent Minds, has timelines that help you place these women from 5 centuries sort of in their own time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's important for like young women to be reading that kind of stuff too, because I remember in high school I always was only taught about like famous men in science and medicine. I was always like, are girls not allowed to do that? But this makes
Right, it's definitely changing now.
Yeah, I think that's the importance of like people reading like these types of books to their kids. What do you think parents could take away from reading your books with their children?
I think just the idea that children's curiosity is something to be treasured and nurtured, and that we all have a lot more questions than answers. You don't have to have all the answers to be able to talk to your children about a certain subject. I guess those are the most important things.
That's awesome. And if anyone wanted to check out your work who's listening to the podcast, where could they find that?
Well, there is a Penny Noyce or Pendred Noyce My real name is Pendred, Pendred, Noyce, Noyce, on Amazon, but you can also find all of them by going to my publisher, tumblehomebooks.org. Tumblehome, all one word, books.org.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for talking to me today.
Thank you.
Before Jordan introduces our next guest, we want to introduce you to our social media platforms. Facebook.com/readingwithyourkids, at Reading With Your Kids on Instagram and on TikTok. We have a great Reading With Your Kids page on Pinterest. We have a YouTube channel, Reading With Your Kids. If you are on Twitter, it's at Jedlie Magic. And of course, we would love it if you would visit our website, readingwithyourkids.com. Click on the contact button at the top of the page to let us know what we're doing well, let us know what we could be doing better, and let us know who you would like to hear on a future episode of the podcast.
This is Jordan with Reading With Your Kids podcast. We're coming to you from the Boston Book Festival. Right now I'm talking to Chris with Leonardo Audio. How are you doing today, Chris?
Doing great. Nice. We've finally got a nice day out here, right? Having a good time with it.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about Leonardo Audio?
Sure. Leonardo Audio is a independent publisher of audiobooks and also a producer of audiobooks. So that means that when it comes to some projects, we will get the rights for those projects, for those titles. And then we will produce all the audio and then market it and get it out to certain distribution platforms. And then also for other projects, we can just produce, which means some of the larger publishers will come to us and we'll be able to soup to nuts produce the audio for them and handle everything under the umbrella of when it comes to casting or production management or post-production, and then we hand over the masters and then they do whatever they want with it for distribution.
Were you a big fan of audiobooks? Is that what started this?
Well, I'm an on-camera actor and a VO actor, a voice actor, and I've been performing for over 25 years.
Oh, that's awesome.
Starting here in, I'm a Boston College graduate. I'm from Everett, and I started performing in 1998 in Harvard Square, doing sketch comedy at the old Hong Kong the comedy studio under Rick Jenkins. We had a sketch comedy group called Perfect Monster that performed back then with some great gals and dudes, and it was really funny. And then so since then I've been performing and trying to find as much ways to get my face and voice out there, and then I discovered audiobooks in like 2012 that they're a terrific way for long-form storytelling to take place.
Yeah.
And so since then it's been it kind of changed my life.
Yeah, honestly, it feels like no one even reads books anymore. At this point, I feel like everyone at my school just listens to like audiobooks like the ones you guys produce here.
Sure, and it's I think the reason for that, and there's nothing wrong with I'll still read a book every once in a while to be able to get the imagery, in my head, because I want that feel for certain books. But when it comes to producing audiobooks, it's now we have this alleyway that where you've got in your left hand you've got movies and TV, in your right hand you have the book, the actual listening experience, the actual reading experience. But in this middle alleyway now we have this listening experience that is alive. It is an interpretation by the performer of the actual prose on the page, and it's that interpretation is allowing the listener to have a larger, more three-dimensional world that they're listening to. So that's, to me, it's like, we've got this new pathway of media that we're now owning, and with our company Leonardo Audio, we just want to create, and we're eventually going to be creating our own original content as well.
Oh, wow.
So sky's the limit, and we're just thankful that the world of audiobooks keeps on growing in double-digit percentages each and every year. And the more listeners we get out there, the more jobs we're going to be able to put out there for people.
Of course, yeah. I feel like it's a common misconception that just anyone can sit down, read a book, record themselves, and it's an audiobook. What do you think is the benefits of having just like a good narrator read the book to an audience?
Well, if you get a good narrator that translates the story for you, it's just it's like when you find the round peg for the round hole, and you get that perfect match, the perfect cast on something, there's really nothing better. It allows the experience to just resonate with you, and whatever the author wanted for that initial mission for that particular project, it's happening. There's no deviation from that.
When I read, I feel like, or when I listen to people read to me, I feel like I really need someone who's going to put me into that world, not just like someone monotonely reading off a page,
Sure. Yeah. And I would also say, so I've been instructing like newer narrators for over 3 years now. So I'm the residence coach for Boston Casting.
Oh, wow.
Which is obviously a large entity in this area that has a very strong educational arm, and their programs are pretty extensive. And when we have this good tax incentive that's bringing all these TV and film productions to the state, Boston Casting has been able to cultivate this wonderful. Basically this wonderful batch of local actors. And so now they're discovering that audiobooks is a way to not only stay active daily when it comes to their performance, so they're able to like be immersed in a story every day if they want to. Whether or not they're working on their own or actually booking actual jobs. The long form storytelling, the fact that a book takes a 10-hour book's going to take you at least 30 hours of work to perform it. It allows people to embed like that for a really long time. So, a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for authors looking for the perfect narrator or narrators looking for work in audiobooks?
Come to me.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's why we're here. That's why we established ourselves. It's our company's job to be able to help these authors navigate the world of audiobooks, because it is something completely different. And it's an entire skill set to learn, okay, who are the narrators out there that are going to be right for our book? And then what distribution platforms are going to be appropriate for the type of project that it is. And then we handle all the actual project management on it and production management on it. So that's why we exist. We exist to be able to allow authors a very simple, easy pathway to getting their audiobooks to market.
And if any of our listeners do want to reach out to you and Leonardo Audio, how would they do that?
Info at leonardoaudio.com is the easiest way to get to us. Also, come to our website, leonardoaudio.com is very detailed as far as for all the pages. We're always looking for newer narrators that have more than 20 credits under their name, 20 audiobook credits. If you're a narrator and you think you're appropriate for our company, you're welcome to submit to our roster. Also, if they want to join our email list, on our About Us page, on the right side, bottom right of our About Us page, they're able to join the email list. And on our email list, you'll be able to understand what titles that we have coming out. And then also what sort of educational programs that are coming up in the next month.
Okay, yeah. Okay, well, thank you so much for talking to us tonight. It was really nice.
Good. Thank you, and I appreciate you giving appreciate the time.
Of course. Have a good one.
I want to take a quick moment to ask for your help. If you're aware of any book festival or major book event that's happening in your area, would you please let us know about it? We love attending these events, meeting the different authors and publishers and fans, and we would love to come to your community too. Just send us an email by going to readingwithyourkids.com and clicking on the contact button at the top of the page. Hey, we're here with Enrique Moras, and he is the owner and operator of Syncretic Press. How are you?
That's correct. I'm doing great. Hey, we scored an awesome day for the fair. It's the first time we come to Boston, so very excited. Very excited to be here.
Where are you based out of?
We're based in Wilmington, Delaware, and we actually started in Ciulla, Massachusetts, and then we moved there a few years ago.
Okay.
So yeah, excited to be here. As you can see, we publish children books in Spanish, for the most part for Latin American authors, and some special projects for adults as well. So yeah, that's always exciting to introduce new authors and illustrators to the American public.
Do you publish both in English and Spanish?
We publish mostly in Spanish, but we started to introduce some of the authors in an English version as well.
And how are the audiences accepting the Spanish-only versions of your book?
Well, we work a lot with schools that have full immersion in Spanish programs. So for them, it was very much needed. So in general, we hear a lot like, "Oh, finally," or "We're very excited to have this." And then you have families that don't speak any Spanish, but they're interested in their kids learning Spanish. So they're also excited to see the books. We work with authors and illustrators that are worldwide recognized, but not so well known in the U.S. So there's a lot of excitement to say, "Wow, this is great. Who is this guy?" And so that's a great opportunity for us to say, "Yeah, let me show you our work."
Yeah. What's the difference, if any, of books that are coming from Latin America compared to books that are coming from the United States?
I find that at times the stories are less filtered over there. That's the sense I get with the stories. Sometimes the take that they have is a little bit more raw. There's not so much protection or buffer on the kids. So that aspect I like. There's something about not providing a lot of answers to the kids. We like books that generate more questions than answers, if you will. A lot of the final pages in our stories start generating all this intrigue, and hopefully it triggers a conversation after the book has been closed.
Yeah.
If that happened, for us it's a success.
Yeah.
So perhaps that's a difference, I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's a pretty significant difference. Tell us where we can go to find out more about your books.
Where? Well, we're distributed by Baker & Taylor, so you can find in libraries and bookstores nationwide. And on our website, for sure, syncreticpress.com. If you go there, we ship for free nationwide. And then we have our social media in Instagram and Facebook and so forth, where we introduce some of our work there as well.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Of course, my pleasure.
If you enjoyed our quick chat with Enrique about books being published in Latin America, please be sure to subscribe to the show on the iHeartRadio app, on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, wherever you find your podcast. We're working to bring Enrique back onto the program to talk a little bit more about the differences he finds in books published for kids in Latin America compared to those published here in the United States. We're also looking to interview some of the authors that he's bringing to families here in the United States, and we're looking to create some content in Spanish. So, if you don't want to miss that, be sure to subscribe to the show wherever you find your podcast.
This is Jordan with Being With Your Kids podcast. I'm joining you from the Boston Book Festival. Right now I am talking to Susan Joyce, the author of Billy the Rescue Dog. How are you doing?
I'm great.
Yeah, do you want to tell us a little bit about your book?
Yes, it's a true story of the dog that we adopted. He's a treeing walker coonhound named Billy. And he was rescued by Paws New England. It's a wonderful organization that rescues a lot of dogs and gets them placed in homes all over New England. And when we got him, he was all skin and bone. And as he filled out and got comfortable, he'd never lived indoors before. He'd never seen cats or goats or chickens, all of which we have in our house.
Yeah.
And as he got more comfortable and got healthier and healthier, he started to change. And then the story talks about how he starts to find things. And one time a fox almost got a chicken, so he found the chicken for us. That's the short story of a short picture book.
Yeah, that's adorable. I think rescuing animals is so important instead of going to those mills and stuff. Is that kind of why you wrote this book? Did you want to encourage rescuing dogs, or did your dog just inspire this whole story?
Well, he inspired the story, and I was thinking I wanted to write a story about him, but I couldn't figure out how to begin. And when Paws New England puts their dogs in foster care, so the foster parents get to learn about what the dog's personality is like. So we had an older dog, Oliver, and we wanted to make sure Oliver and Billy would get along. And we met the foster mother in a park near where she lived. And there was a little boy in the park, and we introduced Billy as a rescue dog, and he started asking what he rescued. Did he rescue people? And then I remembered that little boy, and I thought, that's the story. it starts off, Billy is a rescue dog, not a dog who rescues someone lost in the woods or the snowy mountains. I think it's more accurate to say Billy's a rescue dog. Yeah. So it's that distinction between rescue and rescue. And that's when I knew that was the story that I wanted to tell and to let people know about rescue dogs. And also about giving an animal time to get used to everything, which I think relates to children so much, that they're coming to a new situation, you're not comfortable. So that giving space and time and just love is so important for them to get comfortable.
That's so important for dogs and stuff. You said you own a lot of animals, you mentioned?
Yeah, we actually, when we got Billy 3 years ago, we had a black lab named Oliver. He actually died in August. He was 14.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, so we're still devastated about that. We have 2 cats and 3 goats, and at the time I wrote this story, we had 18 chickens. Now we have even more chickens than that, so we have a lot of chickens.
Oh, wow. That should do a lot of your stories based around animals. Is that a lot of your inspiration?
Yeah. So I've written a lot of things about we live on a farm in Rhode Island, about living on a farm. But the children's book, I'm actually working on another children's book that's also about animals. It's kind of a prequel to this.
Oh, okay, gotcha. And if any of our listeners wanted to find your books or your other works, where could they find that?
Well, BillyTheRescueDog.com is the website where there's a lot of news and information, how to order, what bookstores carry the book. So that's the best place to go to.
Okay, thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you. Good luck.
Before we introduce you to our last guest, if you are the author of a fantastic children's book and would love to tell the world all about your book here on the podcast, the best place to go is readingwithyourkids.com. Click on the contact button at the top of the page. You can learn how you can be a guest. It's fun, it's easy, it doesn't cost a thing, and it gives you the chance to tell thousands of people about your fantastic children's book. You can also learn about our Certified Great Read program and also learn about our monthly promotion program. It's all for you at readingwithyourkids.com, and just click on that author button at the top of the page. We're here at the Boston Book Festival, and we're talking to Marc Eichen. Hey, Marc, how are you?
I'm well, thanks. How you doing?
Great. I'm really interested in learning about the Writers' Room of Boston.
Sure. So the Writers' Room of Boston is a co-working space for writers. We've been in Boston since 1993, and we offer a place for writers to work, as well as a community and an online presence. One of the things that writers have the most difficulty with is finding a place that they can work in peace. You know, sometimes they work in the library, and but then they wonder if their laptop is going to get stolen, or they work in the coffee shop and they wonder, maybe my laptop's going to get stolen from here, right? So the Writers' Room offers a place for them to work, and it offers support. We give workshops to our members. We offer readings to the public, and it's been a wonderful, secure place in the literary life of the city for more than 20 years. It's really a great place.
That sounds really neat. At first, I'm thinking, we work for authors, but it sounds like much more like you're actually offering a community, something that authors who typically work in isolation don't have.
That's 100% right. One of the things that people ask about life in writing is what's it like, and it can be very lonely at times. And so finding a community where people support your work, they ask you about your work, they help you find a publisher, an agent, a place for you to read, and an audience is as important as the space itself. So that's correct. Yeah, it's great.
And how long have you been here in Boston?
We've been in Boston since 1993. We've been in the building where we're now located in downtown Boston since about 2002. It's a light-filled, beautiful, secure space. Some of our writers use it on weekends. Some of them use it in the evenings. Some of them use it in the earliest of the early morning. And so it's just a great place for writers to work.
Cool.
Do you guys, are you open to script writing and other types of writing besides books?
Absolutely, 100%. We're really interested in writing of all genres. We have people who do script writing. We have people who are writing even music. We have writers who are working on digital work. So they're writing for the screen. Like games. And so the other thing is that we really want to have writers in different stages of their writing careers. So we don't insist on people being published authors. We like having developmental writers, people who are just starting out. And we also have had some very, very well-known authors who find Boston home.
And do you find that cross-pollination of all the different, writing different genres and in different areas, does that kind of feed the creativity that's happening?
It does. It's really great for us, right? So very often, even though the space is quiet, you're not supposed to talk in the space itself. We have a kitchen and an office, and writers often, when they're in there, they get together and they say, so what are you working on? Let me read some stuff that I'm working on. This is what I'm having trouble with today. What do you think about this? Right? And so that's very helpful. It's really helpful. We also have people, I should say, that write in other languages besides English, and so we have a member who writes in Dutch, and we also have a member who writes in Swahili. And so it's really a great space.
That sounds very, very cool.
Yeah.
I'm just curious if there's, because we have authors listening from all over the world. If someone's visiting Boston, are they able to maybe drop in and work on their work?
Yeah, that's a good question. Because we're a membership organization, we want to vet all our members, okay? So we don't have drop-ins, but what we do have is we have virtual members. So we have members who have they take advantage of all the other benefits, like we have benefits on writing software, like we have discounts with Grub Street, we have a writing series and a reading series that our members participate in. So you don't have to live in Boston to actually take advantage of membership in the Writers' Room. So, yeah.
Yeah, as a writer, that actually sounds so helpful, because I have so many teachers who tell me, like, when you write, you need to be surrounded by other people writing, or else it's so easy to get off track, go on your phone, go on your different website on your computer.
Totally.
But when you're surrounded by everyone working, it just, it pushes you so much.
It really does. When I come to the space, so when I write at home, I always think, well, I could be doing the laundry, and maybe I should be doing the dishes, and, cleaning the space, that kind of thing. But when I'm there, I always feel like, okay, for the next few hours, I'm going to put my phone away, because all these other people around me are writing, right? And I'm just going to sit and work. And, and it really helps me a lot. So, and we welcome new members. We're always interested in having
awesome.
new members.
And if somebody wanted to find out more about the Writers' Room, where would they go?
So we have a website where people can put in inquiries as well as membership applications. It talks about the benefits of membership, the different membership levels, and the website is writersroomofboston.org.
Excellent. And if people want to find out about your work, where can they do that?
They can go to my website, and it's Marc Eichen, MarcEichen.com.
Awesome. We've had a wonderful time. Thanks very much.
So much. Absolutely. My pleasure. Thanks so much.
Okay. Please be sure to join us for the next episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We'll be back in the studio speaking with Nita Marie Clark and Kathy Doherty, two of our favorite guests. They'll be here to celebrate their brand new book. It's called North Pole, We Got a Problem. I want to thank the folks who made today's show so wonderful. Of course, I want to start by thanking my amazing co-host, Jordan Sahley. I want to thank all the folks at the Boston Book Festival, especially the folks who came on the show. What a great event. Please be sure to check it out next year. Also want to thank my team, Fatima Khan, Rory Grady, Mirabella Q, Skylar Strauss. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the support she gives me. Most of all, we all want to thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today, and as always, thank you so very much for taking the time to make the world a better place by reading with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.